Hi there. My last video had a little bit of background noise. I apologize for that. In a previous video, quite a while ago, I tried shooting a video in this room with my computer running and the background noise was totally unacceptable. I thought with my new microphone that I could try it again. The microphone was aimed away from the computer and hopefully it would be better. It was better, but I still didn't like it very much. So this time around, you notice the screens behind me are black because the computer is now turned off. Getting to the point of this video. In my last video, I mentioned the fact that I was going to be shooting an autoslalom for the Focus Camera Club, which I'm a member of. We had made arrangements with the Moncton Motorsports Club to go to one of their autoslalom events to do some photography. It was a new experience for some members and I think a rewarding one for most. However, I made one big error. Without thinking, I had left my camera, my Olympus mirrorless camera, in silent shutter mode. Now, that means that there was no physical mechanical shutter. Instead, the camera would read the sensor. And when it reads the sensor, however, it reads it from top to bottom. As a result, if an object is moving fast across, or if you are panning quickly, you will cause a rolling shutter effect. Now what that means is that if the buildings are upright as they should be, and you are panning across in this direction, the buildings will appear to lean. If you are following a car and a car is going around a turn and therefore is moving across your field of view, the most obvious effect will be that the tires of the car, instead of being nice upright ellipses, will actually be skewed because of the rolling shutter effect. It showed up in quite a few of my images. Now, rather than toss them away and say, oh well, I messed up, anytime you make a mistake is a learning opportunity. The point is that an error like that fits again with the old expression about learning from our mistakes. Trial and error, not trial and success. The result is that I'll show you some of these images and you will see what I'm talking about. As you can see, things are not as nice and vertical as they should be. Things are somewhat misshapen by this effect. Now, at the same time that I noticed my error, which was not, of course, till after the shoot was over and I reviewed my pictures. At the same time I noticed that error, I did notice something else about my photography. I've spoken here before about the idea of looking for your own photographic niche. And I've often talked about the fact that it's not something that you can really actively search for. Instead, it's something that probably comes to you when you realize what it is you enjoy photographing the most and how to best represent those particular items, those particular subjects. I've always been interested in automobiles. So when I went to this autoslalom, although I took many pictures of cars in motion, I also took quite a few pictures of close-up images of the cars themselves. But rarely the entire car. Just a detail. A nice sun flare off a helmet laid on the hood of a car. The details of the unusual instrument layout in one of the cars. The way that the back bumper reflected the scene from behind while showing the exhaust pipes of one of the cars. All of these are things that were interesting to me. And when I look at my images afterwards and other people look at them, it's also the images that tends to be more interesting to other people. So, interestingly, I mentioned to my wife about the photography, and she stopped me and she said, have you noticed that some things like landscapes you don't often do well? But when you get looking at details like an old rundown building or something like that that other people overlook, those are the things that you do really, really, really well. And the reason why I say that was interesting is that I was basically thinking very much the same thing. After my trip to shoot the shorebirds, even though my images are pretty good, I mean, there are some that are okay, the images I took afterwards on the way home of falling down barns and things like that, they were much better. The composition was better. They basically showed that I had an interest, more of an interest in what I was shooting. I guess I'm not a wildlife photographer. So, to end off this video, which will be a little shorter than most, beware of silent shutter. Rolling shutter can be a problem. Some cameras have reduced it. Sony claims to have reduced it in some of their models. But you are best leaving the silent shutter for places where you absolutely need the silent shutter. And the rest of the time, I mean, I was shooting at a motorsport event. The click of the shutter in a mirrorless camera would go totally unnoticed against a background of engine noise and squealing tires. So my using silent shutter that day was an abuse of a camera feature that resulted in some of my images that may have been quite good turning out, well, not so great. Anyhow, think about it yourself. Look at your photography. Look at the pictures that you like the most. Look at the pictures that other people tend to like. Get the opinion of people that you respect. Not the opinion of somebody who's just going to say, oh yes, your pictures are lovely. We all know people like that. Okay, we have relatives and friends who they'll think everything you did is marvelous, or at least they'll tell you that. Whether they believe it or not, I'm not sure. So instead, enlist someone else. Find another photographer that whose work you like, and get them to look at your pictures and be really critical. You know, what's good about them, what's not so good, what can be improved. And I think once you do that, and once you find what you enjoy shooting the most, then you will have happened upon your own little photographic niche. And it's not something, like I said, that you should necessarily need to go search for. It's something that will come to you. Shoot what you love. If you shoot what you love, you'll get pictures you love. Alright folks, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you think anyone's going to get anything useful from this particular video, then share it. Well, bye for now.